My project for Music Theory and Educational Applications class involved creating an original song with lyrics and movements that dealt with the pH scale. I would use this song during a lesson on biochemistry that I teach towards the beginning of the year, and I hoped that by creating a song and putting movements to it, it would help the kids internalize the knowledge that they need to know all year long. What acids and bases are, what they are on the pH scale, some common acids and bases, and what ions are involved in making acids and bases. At the beginning of the week, I introduced the concept of pH and the pH scale to my students, but before I played my song for them, I had them create their own songs from the material that we were learning during the week. They used an app on the iPod to create these songs, and they really enjoyed the difficulty and the challenge of getting their song to come out right. Some of them realized that it was more frustrating than they thought it was going to be. Others of them had quite a good time. The lesson this week begins with an introduction to atoms and elements and an overview of the pH scale. Then students move on day 2 and 3 into rotations, where they will actually create a pH scale using paper and markers and stickers. They really have a good time artistically creating a pH scale and decorating it any way they want to. After they finish the pH scale rotation, they'll go up to the interactive whiteboard where they get to physically assort solutions into acids, bases, and neutrals. They get to figure out which common elements are acids and bases. They also get to pretend that they're bartenders at an alien bar, and they have to serve their guests drinks based on their preference for acid or base. In the rotation that I laughingly named Biochemistry Sing-Along, students were given 4 paragraphs, about 150 words, that dealt with this week's lessons, and each of the paragraphs was something different, and most of them were vocabulary words, definitions, main concepts, and students had to take those words and use an app called Songify on their iPods, and they had to speak the verses into the app and create a rap song. They discovered that if you repeated certain phrases, if you raised and lowered your voice, if you spoke loudly and not softly, it changed the way that their final product came out, and I found that they repeated them over and over and over again until they got it right. Some of them wouldn't be satisfied with how their final product was. Others of them couldn't wait to send it to me, couldn't wait to bring it back to class and let me hear what they had made. Another rotation was an actual wet lab involving pennies and drops of water and the properties of cohesion and adhesion. My fellow teachers helped me come up with the movements for our song. We wanted to do an H and an OH. And then we wanted to say, if it was an acid, you would drink it up like a juice or Coke or tea. If it was a base, you would clean it up like ammonia or Windex. I gave each of my classes an opportunity to listen to the song and then decide how they wanted to apply the motions to the song. In my first block class, they decided to mimic each other with one side playing my part and the other side following along. They did a really great job with this, but you can see from the video that one side was much more animated than the other side. My second class is an inclusion class, and they were a little bit more anxious about being on video, and they were a little anxious about how the movements would go. So they decided that they wanted me to give the instruction and that they would follow it. And again, I think you can see which ones were a little hesitant and which ones really got into it. This class was a lot of fun, and they participated really well. My last class is a very diverse class. I have several football players in there, a couple of dance team members, a lot of band students and drama students. I think it really comes out in this video that they very much got into it. There was a ringleader, and they would have danced all day if I would have let them. Very much wanting to put the hand movements in it. I think this group had an almost 100% participation in the hand movements. Alright kids, let's cover our acids. The pH scale is a measurement of the hydrogen ions in solution. The pH scale is a number line with acids below 7 and bases above 7. When I say acid, you say H, acid, H, acid, H. When I say base, you say OH, base, OH, base, OH. When I say acid, you say drink it up, acid, drink it up, acid, drink it up. When I say base, you say clean it up, base, clean it up, base, clean it up, woo! Here we go, verse 2. Acids are low on the pH scale. They range from 0 to 6.9. Bases are high on the pH scale. They range from 14 to 7.1. When I say acid, you say H, acid, H, acid, H. When I say base, you say OH, base, OH, base, OH. When I say acid, you say drink it up, acid, drink it up, acid, drink it up. When I say base, you say clean it up, base, clean it up, base, clean it up, woo! Water is neutral, always neutral, hanging in the middle with a pH of 7. Water is neutral, always neutral, hanging in the middle with a pH of 7. Last verse. Here we go. The body's pH is normally right around neutral for good health. Buffers are what we use to control pH that's just too high or too low. When I say acid, you say H, acid, H, acid, H. When I say base, you say OH, base, OH, base, OH. When I say acid, you say drink it up, acid, drink it up, acid, drink it up. When I say base, you say clean it up, base, clean it up, base,